12 Democrat officials just rounded up and arrested for sick crime they covered up for months. Democrats know how to dish it, but they can never really take it. 12 members of the Democratic Party who work for the party in Indiana were arrested and detained in connection with charges for submitting fraudulent voter registration information. It was Holiday Burke and 11 other canvassers who were temporary personnel who were officially charged. They worked for the Indiana Voter Registration Project, and they sent in false registration applications prior to the last presidential election in 2016. The group was managed by the Patriot Majority USA, which is directly linked to the Democratic Party. Those specifically associated are former President Bill Clinton and former Senator Harry Reid. Hendricks County flagged several cases for suspicion of fraudulent voting, and the official investigation started in August. The group was targeting African Americans to get out the vote, thus indicating they were fraudulently sending in registration forms for African Americans likely that do not even exist. The Associated Press reported that prosecutors and police believe it all began with ill-advised business practices of giving canvassers a set quota every day of registrations they wanted them to meet, which added pressure to fraudulently make up registration numbers. A November 14th search warrant that was officially unsealed proved that people admitted to falsifying registrations. Furthermore, they admitted that they did it because they would lose their job if they didn't get at least 10 new voters registered to vote a day. The affidavit for probable cause indicated that supervisors told canvassers to obtain their quota by any means necessary. Even worse, they paid these people $10 an hour and had them work in 5-hour shifts, Marion County Prosecutor Terry Curry said. By giving someone a financial motive to meet a quota is what caused these canvassers to cut corners and do things that not only undermine the goal of having legitimate registered voters, but led to a situation where we allege it blend over into criminal conduct. These people are facing close to 3 years in federal prison for their crimes now. Each also faces a potential fine of close to $10,000. All because the Democratic Party wanted to ensure that more African American people voted. It is about quality, not quantity. The Democratic Party is so preoccupied with making sure certain minorities vote that they would rather commit crimes to make it appear a certain way than putting in the hard work it takes to get people to come out to vote, the Associated Press reported. State police began investigating the group in August after a clerk in Hendricks County near Indianapolis flagged about a dozen registration forms that had missing or suspicious information. That investigation expanded to 56 counties, where Patriot Majority said it had collected about 45,000 voter registration applications before last November's election. All 12 defendants face 1 count each of procuring or submitting voter registration applications known to be false, fictitious, or fraudulent. 11 of them face 1 perjury count each, while the 12th, their supervisor, faces 1 count of counterfeiting. If convicted on all the charges, each defendant faces up to 2.5 years in prison. The Indiana Voter Registration Project faces the same charges as the supervisor. If convicted, a group could face a fine of $10,000. During the campaign, then Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and his running mate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, raised the possibility of a, quote, rigged election. They offered no proof Patriot majority, meanwhile, asked the U.S. Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division to determine whether the police investigation was an attempt to suppress black voters. There they go again. In the long run, they are only hurting their party, not helping it, because the negative attention from the national stage this will get will negatively impact the image of their party, not to mention work towards restricting voter registration laws even further. People will use this as a reason to crack down on increasing limitations to voter registration. In reality, what they did was harm the work they were trying to achieve. Their opposition will simply use this as an example of why we should use more forms of personal identification when voting, as well as increasing the amount of time someone has to register to vote prior to an election. They just took 5 steps back in their own movement. Yeah, but don't forget, President Obama at the time was telling illegals that, no, you can vote on live television. You can vote. You don't need ID. If you're here, you're automatically a citizen. I mean, really, so, again, where does the blame fall? And don't tell me Soros wasn't behind funding these people. I mean, that's who the real culprits are. They're just getting the small fry right now. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.